for taking time to hang out with us this evening now. This is John Hayden with GodFit.com, and I just want to take a few minutes, get to know what he's doing, get to know him personally, and then share where things are going. So, John, why don't you take a moment first and introduce yourself? Okay.
That was good. Thanks. Yeah, my name is John Hayden. I live in Columbus, Indiana. I have a wife and a 2.5-year-old son with a dog named Tucker, who's a Vizsla. So it's a running dog. Most people use them for bird hunting. I use them for personal running. So I don't hunt necessarily with my dog, but he loves to run. I've been in the wellness industry for close to 10 years now. Played college soccer at Anderson University and a certified fitness professional, and did run a health club for 5,000, 1,200 members on time to time with training needs and also just corporate wellness activities here in Columbus, Indiana. And that's really what together a program like GodFit, which sounds like I'll get to explain here in a minute.
Yeah, so you transitioned from just over 10 years of being in the industry, and then you launched GodFit. So why the transition? What was the need that you thought that you saw and that you wanted to meet?
Well, one of the things that I did really well with the club I managed was corporate wellness, establishing relationships with big corporations, small family businesses, and understanding how to offer wellness incentives or wellness initiatives inside their corporate setting. And so one summer in 2012, our pastor was talking about using your platform for the ministry. And at that moment, I really didn't understand what that meant for myself. I worked at a club with 1,000 members and honestly couldn't really know if anybody knew I was a believer or if they knew I even went to the church that was just down the street. And so I was kind of slapped in the face with that idea of, man, John, your platform is 1,000 people plus. What are you doing with it? And so I started thinking about it. And, if you sit in a church and you just start looking at the people, you can see that obesity has not been limited to just corporations or just neighborhoods. It is also inside church walls. And so at that moment, I was kind of struck with the idea, what if I could create a wellness program for churches to offer in a non-intimidating way that produces kingdom work? Hence, GodFit was born. And so the last 2.5 years, I've really discovered and developed a program using my skill set from a corporate wellness standpoint, and now applying it to my faith, applying it to my background, and ultimately encouraging service projects in churches and small groups, in MOPS groups, in friends and family groups, or individuals all across the country.
Okay, cool. Very cool. So what all is involved? What all do you have involved with GodFit? So it sounds like you have a lot of different things rolling at one time. There's videos online that you can check out so that everyone else to get a promo, learn more about what's happening. But one of them that stuck out to me was servitude, so I saw you actually building stuff out in the neighborhood. I also saw a book launch that went out recently. So what all is involved with what you're doing with GodFit, John?
Yeah, so the whole purpose of the program is to offer an opportunity for people to learn how to exercise and also connect that with service. Obesity now is larger than people just being generally overweight. That's a new stat that came out in the LA Times not too long ago. And so there's obviously a disconnect on why I need to be healthy and also what can being healthy do as a servant of Christ. And so GodFit's goal is to bridge the gap between those two concepts and teach people how to exercise, but also inform them that being fit, exercising, is an act of worship when paired with discipleship. Okay, so that's the whole purpose of the program. I want to encourage small groups and churches to get out there, use their fitness as an act of worship, and really be disciples in the community through service. And so the video that you saw on the website or the pictures that you've seen, those are groups that have gone through the program, which ended in a service project, which is the last exercise of the GodFit training program. Okay, so all the program culminates in ending in a service project.
Yeah.
So the details of the program, which is right here, it's 6 weeks of workouts, 6 weeks of devotions, all geared towards how is God calling me to serve. It removes the purpose of myself and puts it on others. And it's a complete kind of, just change in game plan on why people typically want to exercise or why they think they need to be in shape.
Yeah. This is maybe a side tangent, but you said each one has a devotional and then a workout. And so do you need to be, is this something you can do on your own, or is it in a group, or do you subscribe? Is it a membership, or how does it work?
When I was doing the pilot program to what is now published, I really just wrote it for my small group. And as I did that with my small group, another small group wanted it. And then the church wanted to offer it congregation-wide. And then another church wanted it. And so it kind of just organically grew in my community. And 2.5 years later, I now feel like I have a polished product that can be done by anybody, whether you're doing a small group or as an individual. So each book has a leadership guide in the back of it. And so if you decide you wanted to take on a leadership role and get 3 or 4 or 10 people together to do the program, there's discussion questions, there's body weight workouts, everything can be done within the manual. The only equipment needed in the program is really just a kettlebell and a pair of dumbbells. And you can buy all that stuff at Aldi or Target or Walmart or any of those big chain stores for really minimal price. The purpose isn't necessarily getting in the best shape as you can in 6 weeks. The purpose is understanding how does fitness relate to my discipleship pathway and how is God calling me to serve, and fitness is a big part of that. Every service opportunity that I've ever been involved with required spiritual fitness, and almost everyone required some form of physical fitness or movement. And so it's important to be in tune to those things.
Yeah. Talk with me for a second about transformations or stories, because you've been doing this for a little while now. I started with the community group and then moving on to larger groups of people. Talk to me about maybe one example of someone who walked through this.
Yeah, so if everybody goes to GodFit.com, there's a testimony feature on there, and that features a lady that I did the program with. Her name's Laura. She's awesome. She had a huge transformation, almost lost about 50 pounds, and GodFit was the jump start to it. It wasn't the reason why she lost weight. It was the reason she was able to change her mindset on what is exercise. And so when you go through a program that's not focused on yourself and now focused on how is God calling me to serve and ends on serving others, you're completely removing a lot of the anxiety and stress that comes with wanting to lose weight, wanting to get ready for vacation, wanting to get off blood pressure medicine. All those things that can create anxiety are now not the focal point. We're focusing on others. We're focusing on what our relationship with God looks like. And we're focusing on how fitness ultimately can be an act of worship when we use it to serve others. And so her testimony is really great because it kind of lays out what she did. Yeah, she got started with GodFit, but that transformation was 6 months. Okay, my program is 6 weeks. And so it just really got her mindset started, and she really got through the hurdle of being sore all the time, understanding how her body relates with food and exercise, all those different things that can be deterrents or reasons or reasons for not continuing a program. You get through with that by going through the GodFit program.
Right, and I see it. I mean, I'm just thinking off to the side, but I see a lot of parallels of that with just a discipline and the ongoing consistency, day-to-day walk with just being a believer as a whole. And, I mean, you get stretched every single day, and you can either sit on the couch and mope, or you can get back up and keep rolling and be the person that you're supposed to be. So I'm sure that there's a lot of parallels there, physically and spiritually as well, that teachable, you know.
And what's interesting, when I started putting the program together, for me it was kind of a common thought that these would make sense pairing together. But for a lot of people who find out about the program, it's kind of like an aha moment. They're like, oh my goodness, I never really thought about putting my physical exercise with my spiritual exercise and combining them into one. And that's one thing that's really cool about the devotions and workouts each week of the program, is that you've got prayers at the bottom of each workout. You've got devotions that are on the opposite page, and it's you can kind of get 2 things done at the time. And workouts are really easy to skip, and devotions are really easy to forget. And if you do them together, you kind of just process all together and go in one direction.
Right. Okay. Lastly, I kind of want to head home on this is where it's going. Where do you see GodFit going, and versus where it is right now? Where would you like it?
The book just published in early April, and I released it in my community on the 8th of May. And since then, I've done a few things, been on some radio interviews, and went to the North American Christian Convention and had my first vendor spot there. Where it goes, I'm completely happy with it being a local ministry, to be honest. I never expected to publish a book at all. So if this gravitates and God wants to use this as a platform or as a tool to equip churches and groups to get out and serve, to do his work, then he can take it wherever he'd like to take it. But at the same time, my goal with this is really just to use my talents as I feel I've been given, and that's through leadership, and that's through this program, and a lot of what I've learned the past 10 years is really in this program, and almost best practices for me from a fitness professional, but also really exudes my faith and why I personally, as a former collegiate athlete, want to stay fit, and that's to glorify God's kingdom through service.
Yeah, it is hard to stay fit after college.
It's like, why? What's the reason? And I've found with training individuals, that reason is lost. Obviously, being overweight isn't a reason why a majority of Americans want to stay fit. Obviously, being healthy and taking care of myself, all those different things, those aren't good enough reasons. So what is? GodFit might be an answer to that. It's serving God's kingdom through your abilities and understanding your gifts. So.
Right. We should be responsible with everything that we have, whether it's the dollars that we have in the bank account or the bodies that we have while we're here on earth, right? So
right.
That's cool. I appreciate you sharing. I know you have to get on the road, and not only that, but it's right before the holiday, so we've got some family to see as well. So appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me, John. I want everyone to check out GodFit. I think there's some awesome things going on there, and I'll be sharing this as much as I can to get the word out for it.
Awesome. So the website is godfit.com. It's super easy. You can also check out that testimony that I mentioned, or if you have questions, anybody can email me. I'm open to understanding what the issues are. If you want to start a small group or a church group or need to get information out, let me know. I've got pre-made information already set that I can just send you as PDF. Love your support if you can, and everybody who goes through GodFit ends serving someone, and that's the cool part about this ministry. So I encourage you, if you've been looking for a fitness program, get on board, get a GodFit program, get the T-shirt, get rolling, and let's do some cool stuff in the communities that we're involved in.
Great. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Take care now.